Alright guys, on today's episode, we're going to finish the Dash just in time for Final Bout and the pre-meet that Mayday Garage is going to be holding. Right over here, I have the Dash to my RX-7. We have the cutout that we're going to be using for locating the different screw holes. We're going to be drilling these and cutting a relief cut so that all of the plugs can fit through. And then we have all of the pieces here. And we're going to go ahead and spray them with some primer. And then I also have some texture that we're going to be applying to the pieces. So let's go ahead and jump right in. And we're going to cut the holes on this first. Let's get to it. So this neat little X-Acto blade that we're going to be using to score through the paper so we know exactly where to cut on the back of the Dash. I love the super smooth movements, Brent. You're a goddamn G. If you guys don't know, I'm sure you can tell, I'm not holding the camera today, and it's not sitting on a tripod. Good friend of mine, Brent, stopped by. Brent CRX on Instagram. If you want to follow him, he posts a bunch of cool stuff. Yeah, I'll link that in the video. So we're gonna go ahead and take the template off. And just like that, we have where our mounting holes will go, and we're going to do a quick test fit. Going to erase pack Dash right over here, and this should fit right in there. Perfect. So we'll have to make the cuts for the back because it won't go in, but we're off to a good start. One of my favorite bits on the Dremel allows you to do like vertical cuts. So we'll use this to cut through and make the hole we need. There we go. Now you gotta clean it up. So this is ABS. And so if you are using ABS to kind of create or fill holes in or anything like that on your Dash, you'll have a lot of the burnt stuff kind of come up. So we'll just go with a quick little pass with a drum sander and this will get all cleaned up. So looks good. Nothing special, drum sander, and we're gonna go ahead and knock this stuff off. Cool. All right. That's all done. And so now we're gonna wipe everything down with some alcohol and spray it all down. All right, I got alcohol pads. These are isopropylene.
Isopropylene.
Thank you, Brent, for the save. We're going to use this to kind of clean up the surface so we get better adhesion of the primer to the gauge clusters and things.
You know, I've always found that alcohol does help things get along.
They do. They do help.
Yes.
They also make you dance more. I'm hoping this gauge cluster dances its night out, or it's a little hard out tonight. And because it's just going to sit in here all by itself, all on its lonesome, drying, because it's 60 degrees outside. FYI, don't paint when it's cold outside. So, fun tip, if you are going to do this, use a space heater to warm up your space. And also, warm your paint cans up. Not too hot. You don't want them to explode in your house. Just use some warm water from the faucet. Set the can in there, let it get up to temperature. It helps with atomization and a bunch of other things. So, there's your tech tip for this video. While we're cleaning these things, let me give you a little insight to why I did all of this. Even though my car is technically a street car, I don't have any of the modern day amenities that you would find. So no AC, there's no blower motor in the car, none of that stuff. So I deleted all of the little switches and knobs for it to give it a really nice clean look. And so yeah, that's what we did all on this and on the shifter console, which is currently covered by a small piece of foam.
Danger. Fragile.
Yes, and Brent is not lying. These things are extremely fragile. They break very often. There's actually a couple of guys that are reproducing these parts for the RX-7. There's a guy on Instagram, his name is like Draclore, and I really want to get his parts, support the guy. He's 3D printing all of them. I'm cheap though, right? And I can show you guys how to do it for a fraction of the cost. Just a single, just the gauge hood, which is over there in a very safe place so it doesn't get damaged. It's on top of a box. It's like $250, and I'm not saying that's I'm not saying that's too expensive. I'm just saying I don't have $250 to pay for a 3D printed one, which he does like a lifetime warranty on. He has like brass inserts for all of the bolts, so nothing is screwing directly into plastic. It's all reinforced. It's a really nice piece, but we're trying to make it to Final Bout and have the car look halfway decent, right, Brent?
Correctamundo.
Because I think the last major meet that the car went out to was a Weekfest Pre-Meet that Mayday was hosting. I think you went with me.
I did go with you. That was at a car dealership.
Baker Jackson, I think. Something. I'm almost certain it was them.
And there was that crazy blue NSX that didn't have an engine.
Oh, yes. But yeah, so these things are so fragile. This piece was actually two and has been mended back together to be one piece. Used JB Weld, plastic bond, and then the red stuff is actually a Bondo. It's a glaze coat, so it helps fill in any... Yeah. Yeah. Yes, my asshole did pucker. Yeah.
Time stopped for a moment.
Woo. Bro, my heart skipped a beat. Because if I dropped this thing on the ground, surely it would have been broken into a bajillion pieces.
That's like dropping an iPhone on launch day.
Oh my god. But yeah, so the glaze coat fills in any like pinholes or imperfections and stuff like that. So you use it to kind of make everything nice and smooth, so it looks good whenever you put the top coat on. So that's what all of the pink is. So after I filled everything in, there's still a couple areas that needed to get leveled off, and that's what I used. Rust-Oleum High Build Primer works really well for plastics, and so we can go ahead and, because it's a high build, if there's anything that didn't get filled in by the glaze coat, this will fill it in. So, giving it a good shake. Give it a little testy.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
So this one, what's awesome about the high build primer, there's a lot of places in here that are uneven still. That's perfectly normal, that's fine. As long as we get good bonding to the plastic, we'll do a light sand. And with the texture, what's nice is you probably aren't gonna see any of the imperfections because it's gonna hide a lot of it. So, you know, the gauge cluster basically covers the area that we molded and got rid of the factory gauges. So that should be fine. We'll probably run like an autometer or some kind of gauge for the gas level. And then these all will be open. So these used to be to actuate like the headlights on or like cruise control, open the headlights. All of the warning lights were in this section. And a cigarette lighter, none of that's still there. I'm not really gonna worry about it. The piece that came out the best, probably the gauge cluster. I really don't even wanna touch it. But if you remember, this was 2 pieces, and now you can hardly tell. Like this, the transition's super smooth. And the way I did that is obviously you repair the bottom first, and then once you have the bottom repaired, you use the Dremel, make a little channel, a little V, so you get more contact between the two pieces, so you can lay down the material. And this one also came out good. This one came out great as well, almost flawless. There's a couple pinholes that you can see there. Nothing that's too major. Right there where some of the buttons for like the window lock and stuff, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, and I'll be happy when it's done and we can roll into the meat looking extra sweet and a Texture RX7 Brent.
Beer, beer, beer.
You know, using our Wu-Tang
War Whistle.
Oh, there we go. Wu-Tang War Whistle, Taiwanese Tranny Trasher. All the things.
Nagasaki Noisy Boys.
Oh yeah. The Nagasaki Noisy Boy isn't as noisy though. We have
you have a blow-off valve now.
We do have a blow-off valve.
That's all right.
That's all right. We're gonna be looking extra clean. All right, guys. So welcome back to day 2 of refinishing the RX7 plastics. Now it is super bright out here. Unlike the very first day, it was really cold. We were shooting at night, but I actually want to take advantage of the sun, and so I've created an outdoor spray booth for the pieces. Now what's really nice about this is you can keep all the bugs and the dust out of it, but it's a really simple solution. It's just some plastic containers that you can get from Walmart, and like I said, it's really effective. We're going to be using the Sim Satin Black chip guard. That's going to be this stuff. Unfortunately, Brent's not going to be here today, so we're just going to rely on a time lapse, and then I'll do some after shot of the pieces so you can see how it turns out. So let's jump right in. I just took off our makeshift painter's booth, and I could not be happier. These things absolutely came out fantastic. I took some pictures and then went ahead and posted them on my Instagram so you can get a sneak peek at them. That's at Wanderlust Garage on Instagram. And I think you're going to be pretty excited too. Let's take a look. So it's really hard for me to see, but man, that texture is spot on. So now, looking super good. And what's nice is it kind of hides the repair on the actual gates cluster, which is really awesome as well. So the buckets did their trick. There's no mosquitoes, there's no dust, there's no nothing that's stuck in any of these finishes. This one probably came out the best, right? Like this one, the shifter surround is flawless. I think I have one pinhole, but realistically, you can't see it. This one you can kind of see where we had kind of covered everything up. But realistically, with the race pack in there, you're not even going to notice it. So these things came out fantastic. The very last step in all of this is adding a top coat to the pieces, but that's just going to be a really quick spray. I'm going to be using another one of Sim's products for the top coat. It's like a flexible interior coating, so a lot of other people have used it previously with a lot of great results. That's what I'll be using on this. I'll put a link down below so you know what it is. One thing I am sad about, I went through my video footage and my time lapse for both last night and today, for whatever reason, is corrupted. So really bummed out about that, but that's all right. This looks fantastic. I can't go back and re-show you the process or like the time lapse of doing it, but just remember, shoot 18 to 24 inches away when using this to get the texture that you want. Otherwise it will get really thick, and that's another type of texture. If you have that kind of car interior and you're looking for that really subtle texture, that's fine, but for this one you really got to stick to the 18 to 24 inches. Otherwise, I think it looks great. So we're going to be ready for Final Bout, the pre-meet that Mayday Garage is going to be hosting. I'll be out there. I'll have the camera. I'll go ahead and film and take a lot of pictures of the event. And yeah, man, I'm pretty stoked. So I'll catch you guys next time. I'm going to get these pieces back in the garage so they can dry, and then I'll go ahead and apply the top coat tomorrow. Till then, I'll see you next time. Peace.